Good evening, dear friends, and welcome. Welcome to our 10 o'clock vigil, and I hope you can hear me and see me okay. So let us just begin by just coming back to our heart and just having a few minutes quietness, a time to be alone with our heart, to listen to the heart, because there are so many demands upon the heart each and every day we live. The media, neighbors, noisy next door animals, you name it, we have a barrage of distractions. So to be able to sit here with you for the next 30 minutes, I guess is a privilege. So let us be still and just focus on our in-breaths. Take a nice deep breath. And now release any worries or anxieties or tensions or illness, and just let them go to Mother Earth. And just allow her love come to you, to allow you enjoy some of the beautiful reflections from another great mystic, Thomas Aquinas. So we begin with our entry prayer into our castle, and if you wish to say it after me, then that will be brilliant. And here we are. I cross the bridge into the silent bliss of my castle. I close the drawbridge and I forbid all outside influences from entry into this holy place, a place that is my soul. Here in my castle, I am alone with God, and under God's light and companionship, I discovered the depth and the beauty of my soul. I embrace the power of prayer. I open myself to divine guidance. I surrender myself to become as a channel of grace, for grace, healing, and service as God directs my life. We just focus on those words just for a few seconds and just feel the power of drawing up your drawbridge, putting a sign on your door, do not disturb. This is me time with the beloved. And now we share with you some beautiful reflections from the great Dominican theologian Thomas Aquinas. Every love causes ecstasy. To suffer ecstasy means to be placed outside oneself. And Matthew Fox says, Aquinas says we suffer ecstasy. We undergo it. Ecstasy is bigger than us. And that is why it affects us so deeply. It transforms us and makes us new. It makes us alive when we are feeling deadened and puts us outside ourselves, beyond our pains and woes and troubles. Where do we find such ecstasy, he asks. It comes with every love. A shocking observation. The love of a tree, the love of a poem, of a flower, of a bird, of a dance, of music, of strangers, of lovers, of relatives, of enemies. Any love whatsoever causes ecstasy. So ecstasy is not rare, it is not rationed, it is everywhere love is. Wow. No wonder Aquinas put optimism ahead of pessimism. He found love and ecstasy everywhere. Despite the cynicism and the rapaciousness of today's society, can you see the abundance of ecstasy in every love? And Aquinas says, in the Song of Songs in chapter 5 we read, "My beloved, you are drunk with love." Those who are drunk are not inside of themselves, but outside of themselves. Those who are filled with spiritual gifts, all their intention is carried toward God. Just as those who hold their mouth to a fountain of wine are drunk, so those who hold their mouth, that is their desire, at the fountain of life and sweetness are drunk. And so they are drunk, since with you there is a fountain of life. And Matthew Fox says Aquinas is endorsing drunkenness here. Time to get high. Time to get outside ourselves. Time for some ecstasy. This is what mystics do and what mystics teach. Not just any drunkenness, but to be drunk with love, which brings on ecstasy. When were you last inebriated with love? What did it do for you? What did it do for others? When did you last hold your mouth, that is your desire, at the fountain of life and sweetness and get drunk? It sounds like fun, getting drunk on the fountain of life. Time for an encore. And Aquinas shares this. Love brings it about that lovers are directed not only toward themselves, but also toward others. And Matthew Fox shares this. Real love leads beyond the lovers to others. Love expands. Love is inclusive. It enlarges the soul. It enlarges one's actions, one's politics, one's economics, one's thoughts. Love is not self-serving or exclusive. It expands consciousness and births imagination. It struggles for justice. It stands in solidarity. It dares, it fights, it blossoms into compassion. Can you find new ways to shine your love outward? Aquinas says God puts into creatures, along with a kind of sheen, a reflection of God's own luminous ray, which is the fountain of all light. shining reflections of the divine radiance must be understood as the sharing of God's likeness and constitute those beautifying reflections that make beauty in things. Aquinas, like so many other mystics, sees the light of God in all things. Not a dull light, but a sheen, a luminous ray. While it is a reflection of God, the fountain of all light, this divine radiance shines from within and is the source of beauty. We are ourselves shining reflections of the radiance. Can you believe that? Try meditating on that. Do you see any and all beauty as divine radiance? Does such a perspective change what you see? Can you share it with others? What journey does it take you on? And again, Thomas Aquinas shares this. God is supersubstantial beauty, and God bestows beauty on all created beings. God is superstantial beauty, and God bestows beauty on all created beings. I am not sure exactly what the supersubstantial beauty is or looks like, but it sounds very great and beyond words. It is so much beauty that it transcends our perception. That's what God is according to Aquinas. Then God bestows beauty on all beings, which means that God certainly must have a different standard of beauty than Hollywood. Can you imagine God as supersubstantial beauty? Does your religion proclaim or promote this idea? Could you spend a day seeing this beauty in every person and creature you meet? How does this alter your understanding of beauty? How does it alter your understanding of beauty? And Thomas Aquinas shares this: the highest beauty is in the Godhead. Since beauty consists in comeliness, but God is beauty itself, beautifying all things. And Matthew says this: very few preachers and very few theologians in the past 300 years have spoken of God as beauty. This is an important ethical and spiritual category, and it has been missing from modern consciousness. Descartes, the father still, alas, of modern Western education, developed an entire philosophy, but with no philosophy of beauty or aesthetics. This is one reason for our global ecological crisis. Beauty has no ethical or philosophical standing in the modern era. We can bring it back. We must bring it back. Time is running out for humans, and nothing motivates us like beauty. Beauty gets us out of our couch potato-itis. I love that word, couch potato-itis. out of our couches to defend the earth and her beauty. Gaia is beauty itself, beautifying all things. And Thomas Aquinas says, by dwelling on creatures, the mind is inflated to love the divine goodness. We love God and know God in the mirror of God's creatures. Mirror mysticism is seeing every creature as an image or mirror of divinity. Every creature reveals something about God to us. Maybe it is beauty, maybe humor that shines through, maybe simplicity, maybe complexity. With the right eyes of perception, everything reveals something of the divine to us. We meditate on creatures to taste the divine goodness or blessing. We do not have to choose between God and the world, or turn from the world to find God, for we love God and know God in the mirror of God's creatures. Can you learn to do this a little more each day? But Thomas Aquinas says, God is supremely good and therefore supremely generous. Sheer joy is God's, and this demands companionship. Companionship. God's goodness is not limited, it is supreme. It is also generous, indeed supremely generous. Generosity is a divine attribute. For us to develop our generosity is for us to develop our God-likeness. Moreover, the sheer joy of God is the very cause of the universe, since joy demands companionship. Joy seeks to be shared. There, like Aquinas' thoughts on why the universe exists, for the sake of joy. To share joy, God created others, an enlarged community. Community is nothing if it is not a place, space of shared joy. And again, Thomas Aquinas says this, self-love is the form and root of all friendship. Well-ordered self-love is right and natural, so much so that the person who hates himself or herself sins against nature. To know and to appreciate your own worth is no sin. And yet that throws on its head the spiritual training we had as young novices back in the 60s. In the monastic life, we were told to despise ourselves, to hate our body. We had to punish it every first Friday by whipping it and wearing a big chain on our pelvic girdle and pull on it till blood came. It was so narcissistic and dangerous. And yet here, Thomas Aquinas, many hundreds of years ago in the Middle Ages, shares this. Self-love is the form and root of all friendship. Well-ordered self-love is right and natural. So much so that the person who hates himself or herself sins against nature. To know and to appreciate your own worth is no sin. That is a revelation. And as Matthew Fox says, some religious teachers build their theologies around the central idea, what a wretched am I? Hating oneself, subscribing to a self-hating theology, is not Aquinas' teaching, and it is not healthy psychology either. Authentic self-love is the very basis of friendship. How can we love others well if we have not learned to love ourselves well? That's poignant for me because I spent many years telling people I loved them but hated myself. And when I came to that realization in prayer, I began to realize I was the hypocrite and I had to do something about it. I had to kneel before God and say, forgive me for harboring old theologies that no longer serve our highest good. Show us an alternative way. And he has, and I'm here. Aquinas goes further. Self-hatred, he says, is a sin against nature. That is strong language. But consider this self-love in the context of the rest of nature. Does any tree or whale, horse or eagle, blade of grass or star hate itself? No. As McKilt says, they seek only to fulfill their true natures, to do the work of being the best possible tree. Whale, horse, eagle, and so on. It is false and pseudo-humility to hate oneself. We need to come to know ourselves and appreciate our own worth and to help others to do the same. There lies authentic friendship. Isn't that powerful? Isn't that amazing? And then Aquinas says, all things together are very good by reason of the order of the universe, which is the ultimate and noblest perfection in things. And Matthew Fox interprets that as saying, Aquinas puts our existence and that of all things in the context of the entire universe. His is not a psychologically based spirituality, but a cosmologically based spirituality. If we are looking to find the ultimate and noblest perfection in things, he proposes, then look to the whole. Today we know the order of the universe is a very dynamic order, a rapidly evolving order, an order in motion, an order of the birth, death, and resurrection of galaxies, supernovas, stars and planets, including Earth. We all exist to serve a larger order, the cosmos itself. And Thomas says, one meditates on creation in order to view and marvel at divine wisdom. Each creature is made as a witness to God, insofar as each creature is a witness to God's power and omnipotence, and its beauty is a witness to the divine wisdom. Think of every creature as a witness to God, a testimony that wisdom exists that beauty exists, that it is constantly incarnated and made flesh in so many forms, in so many eras and evolutionary epochs, a never-ending caravan of history and species and individuals, all bearing witness to divine wisdom unfolding within and without them. Apply this observation about meditating on creation to the work of the scientist. Aquinas exalts the vocation of science. Let us now bring that portion to an end, because otherwise we won't have much time to just reflect and be still. Every love causes ecstasy. To suffer ecstasy means to be placed outside oneself. So here we are in the temple of love, in the cathedral of life with no walls, and we are one. Let us just be still and visualize love, beauty, joy. And allow nothing take its place, no substitute. Embrace that love, reclaim that love. It is yours by divine birthright. Be still. Be still in the presence of love. Excuse me. And as you relax, you behold the face of the beloved, arms outstretched, calling you to agape, calling you to surrender your heart to divine intimacy, and not to give your power away to others who could abuse it, but to be discerning, better to wait. And as you relax here, all is well, for all that is shared in love. And guess what? God is love. God is love. So let us embrace that love. Let that love touch us to our very core and allow us to face anything that is weighing us down. And that we eat healthily and fresh every day, and keep the mind alert, and not as an antagonist to the soul, but as a friend. Breathe in the breath of God. Breathe in that love of God. Breathe in all that you are as a child of God. And now we say our exit prayer by the great Teresa of Avila. I am a channel of grace. As I leave my castle, grace surrounds me and grace protects me. I enter my life under the blessing of God, and I remain open to receive guidance from my soul. the gateway to God. Just be still and let nothing cause you disquiet. Nothing. Hold on to the peace of God. Thank you for joining me this evening. I pray that you've gained something from the amazing reflections of the great Christian mystic Thomas Aquinas, and there's more to come. So God bless you. May you sleep well. Namaste, Shalom, Inshallah, Paxet Bonum Om Shanti. Solo di Caritas. Salam Alaikum. And may the peace of all that is sacred to you reawaken you to the I Am presence within and around you. Till the next time, God bless you. Sleep well, Jane.